In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a flat earther being dishonest. I know, I couldn't believe it either. Please subscribe.
Today, we're going to have a quick listen to Major Brian Shaw of the United States Air Force, former SR-71 pilot, retelling a few stories from back in the day, and in doing so, Brian is going to absolutely annihilate the globe theory.
Just remember that small part. Quick listen, because that's exactly what he does. Right up until the second he thinks he hears the Major say something that proves the Earth is flat, even though he doesn't. Not even a tiny bit.
We're then going to have a look at the globe distance to the horizon calculator.
I have no idea what a calculator is, but we'll get to that later in the video. So let's be polite and allow Level Earth Observer the opportunity to explain to us why he thinks this pilot has demonstrated that the Earth is flat, even though he hasn't. Like I said.
We're going to compare the observations that Brian Shaw was seeing, measure the distance, compare it to the distance of the horizon calculator, i.e. the globe mathematics. A big fail, I can tell you. And then we're going to use Google Earth to try and recreate Major Brian Shaw's observation.
Becoming a United States Air Force fighter pilot was one of the toughest things I've ever done in my life. Oh, Charlie Alpha. Wait, you didn't think I was a United States Air Force fighter pilot, did you? No, of course you didn't. Anyway, it requires 110% dedication and motivation, extreme mental fortitude, resilience, and a can't quit attitude. How hard was it to become a crane driver, Leo? I'm just asking because at the moment we have two choices. Believe a crane driver from England that already thinks the Earth is flat, or believe a highly trained fighter pilot who didn't actually say anything at all about the shape of the Earth anyway. And all you've done is cherry pick one sentence because you're an idiot.
Testing Google Earth and testing the globe at the same time, and it's a big double whammy fail, I can tell you, as the heights we have to go to recreate Brian Shaw's observations in his SR-71 is ridiculous. But let's have a quick listen to Brian first.
I see what you did there, Leo. Very clever. The height is a plane. Unfortunately for us, it's about the only clever thing you say in the entire video. So let's listen to see what the pilot has to say.
When Walter and I were doing a training mission around the United States where you just were building up hours and time, and we take off out of Beale, hit a tanker in Idaho, rip on up to Montana, zip across Denver, hang a right turn in Albuquerque, out over Los Angeles, up to Seattle, back into Sacramento, 2 hours, 21 minutes. And you just do that then you do it backwards, and you hit a tanker. It was just to gain crew coordination, build your hours. We're on our last training mission. We're over Tucson. I can see downtown LA from Tucson. We're at 89,000 feet. I can see the whole western United States bathed in a warm October fall glow. I can see the chain of Rocky Mountains from Canada to New Mexico. I could just see the most beautiful picture laid at my feet in the...
Oh, right, sorry, sudden cut off. I wasn't expecting that. But according to Level Earth Observer, somewhere in that presentation, Major Brian Shaw proved that the Earth was flat. But he didn't.
Fantastic, Brian, thank you. And no doubt it was incredibly flat, my dear man, if you were seeing that far.
So when you titled your video US Major Flattens the Globe, you were just being clickbaity. You could see that he had said nothing at all about the shape of the Earth in his video, but you thought that people would click on it if they thought he had. Now I get where you're going with this.
So Brian, at 89,000 feet, was seeing the whole western side of the United States. He was 89,000 feet above Tucson. He could see the whole of the western side of the United States. He could see downtown LA. He could see the Rocky Mountains in Canada coming all the way down to New Mexico. Incredible!
So, the SR-71 is a long-range, high-altitude Mach 3 Plus strategic reconnaissance aircraft developed and manufactured by the American aerospace company Lockheed, and it was operated by both the United States Air Force and NASA. Ah, there we go. And if NASA is involved, then obviously that wobbly bowl of jelly you call a brain, Leo, would lead you to conclude that this pilot is in on it as well. And because he said he could see more from 89,000 feet than you think he should be able to see, the Earth is flat. Genius as always. But please do go on.
Let's just have a look on a map, just to give you some idea. 2 secs. So here's a map of the western United States. Tucson is right at the bottom there, below Phoenix.
Felix, what the hell has PewDiePie got to do with this?
And of course our pilot was, Brian, was 89,000 feet above Tucson. And strangely enough, he was seeing the whole of the United States. Not only that, he was seeing the Rockies come down from Canada all the way down to New Mexico.
Just happy little bed end.
But you forgot to mention that he was also travelling at Mach 3.2 or 2,455.69 miles an hour. I'm sure you didn't do that on purpose, though, did you?
You kind of gave the game away there, Brian, as we're about to see.
Or not? You decide.
Okay, over at the distance to the horizon calculator.
Ah, you meant calculator. I had no idea what you were going on about. And obviously, being a person of no accent, I am completely qualified to pick people up on the way they pronounce words.
Observer height, 89,000 feet. Calculate the distance. We get a distance to the horizon of 365.9 miles. Already, anyone who looked at that map just now can see there's an obvious problem.
Yeah, the obvious problem is that he's travelling at 2,455.69 miles per hour, or Mach 3. Have you taken that into account? Because if you haven't, you may as well just give up now.
Right, let's get some idea of distance here. I'm going to be quite kind to the globe believers. I'm not going to measure all the way to the Rockies inside of Canada.
Well, aren't you the helpful one? But are you going to be kind enough to include the speed he's travelling in your calculations? Probably not. And while we're talking about distance, at the speeds he's travelling, he would have reached the horizon, or he would have covered that 365.9 miles in 8 minutes and 56 seconds. But I'm sure a smarty pants like you would realise that his speed needs to be included so that any of this would make any difference at all.
I'm going to measure to the border. Just to be fair here. Don't want to crush your globe too much.
Are we talking intellectually or metaphorically? Because if it's the first, you couldn't crush a grape in a fruit fight.
Give us some idea. Distance. Let's say approximately 1,100 miles to the Rockies on the US-Canadian border, okay? It's actually a lot further. If I was to include the whole Rockies, we'd be looking in the region of 1,500 miles. But we'll give the Globies a sort of fighting chance here. Not that their reality is real whatsoever, it's pantomime, as we've just seen. So we've got that, 1,100 miles. This SR-71 pilot was seen at an absolute minimum from 89,000 feet.
Now, I don't want to be nitpicky, but he didn't actually say that at all, did he? What he said is he could see the whole western side of America. He didn't actually say he could see the whole western side of America at the same time. And as I've said, and I hate to keep referring back to the same point, but 2,455.69 miles an hour means that what you can see changes pretty quickly.
But the globe mathematics tell him, and us, that the horizon, i.e. the cut-off point, should have been just over 300, was it 369 miles, was it? Let me just double check. 365.9 miles. So the horizon on the globe model from an observation height of 89,000 feet should be 365 miles away, i.e. the cut-off point. But strangely enough, Brian is seeing another 7, if we want to include the Canadian Rockies, another 1,200 miles.
Okay, and what exactly do you think that proves? Because as far as I can tell, with my very limited knowledge, because I'm not one to pretend to be an expert in things I'm not, except for not being a complete moron, I'm pretty good at that. But all you're demonstrating, Leo, is just how little you understand about what you're talking about.
Oh dear.
Is that an embarrassed laugh? Have you just finally realised that you're making a fool of yourself?
It only happens when when it's a lie. You wouldn't have these problems if the globe was fundamentally true.
But it is, you silly crane-driving goose. That's why there's so much evidence for a globe Earth that can be observed, repeated, and demonstrated to anybody who cares to look at it. What have you flat earthers got? Any photos from space by any chance? Oh yeah, you think space is fake as well, don't you? But then I suppose being a flat earther, you'd have to.
So let's go on Google Earth now before we finish, and let's see how high we have to get before we can actually see.
I thought he was going to say, how high do you have to get before you believe that the Earth is flat?
What Brian, the SR-71 pilot, stroke globe knockout artist, could see. Let's have a look. 2 secs. Okay, we're on Google Earth. You can see Tucson just at the bottom on the left, just to the left of the Google logo there. Okay. Look up at the top. Obviously this is what we're interested in, to see how far we can see. So we've located Tucson. I'm just going to bring it down a bit now, so in theory we're above it. Okay, so just slide that down, being quite generous there. So I think it's fair to say we're above Tucson.
Yeah, maybe. It's not very exact though, is it?
Now looking at the globe horizon, we've got Oregon, Idaho. We still can't even see Washington State yet.
But we're not travelling at 2,455.69 miles per hour, are we? Moron!
And at the moment, my altitude is not 89,000 feet. I'm 324 kilometers up so far. Which is what? 200 miles up, is it? Near enough. And I still can't even see Washington State, yet alone Canada, where the Rocky Mountains are. So let's go a bit higher. Right, Washington's just popped into view there, which is just before the Canadian border. So what height am I? 373 kilometers up. And I still can't see Canada. That's behind the ball. But strangely enough, the SR-71 pilot could see all this and more from 89,000 feet.
While travelling at 2,455.69 miles per hour.
But according to Google Earth, I have to literally go into space. At the moment I'm 373 kilometers up and I still can't see what the SR-71 pilot could see.
And can you guess why? Is it maybe because he's not travelling at 2,455.69 miles per hour?
You gotta love the SR-71. What a cracking globe knockout artist it is. And of course the observations of the SR-71 pilot are only possible if the Earth is a level plane.
Right, well I'm going to go outside and try peeing into the wind, see if I can be any more successful at that. But if this video has taught me anything, and if you can take just one thing away from this video, it's that you should never argue with an idiot, because they will drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. And while we're talking about idiots, check out this video next. Go to the 7-minute and 83-second mark and tell me I'm wrong. But smash the like button on this video first because it really helps. Love you, bye.